Will the Republican dreams of a true conservative added to the Supreme Court be frustrated? Will Democrats get their chance to delay Brett Kavanaugh's nomination past the midterm elections? We'll talk about it on this episode of The Uprising.
LibertyNation.com. They are the resistance, but we are the uprising. With Scott Cosenza and Tim Donner.
There's not going to be a President Donald Trump.
Hey, a president. Can you believe it?
I love the poorly educated.
The voters have guaranteed themselves slavery, economic disaster.
I can't believe I'm losing to this guy.
You could put half of Trump's supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
I have never met with Russians.
Our elected representatives can abuse subordinates and then secretly use a slush fund of our money to pay them off.
Black Lives Matter, the Antifa movement, is interested in preserving the fabric of America.
Welcome back to The Uprising, the podcast at LibertyNation.com. This is Scott Cosenza coming at you double barrel. Tim Donner's my co-host today, although he has said he's eschewing co-host duties and he's just going to fold his arms and be a guest, like a bump on a log. Apparently,
eschewing. I got shoes on.
He's not going to help out at all.
Shoes on.
All right,
do I say that when I take the ball and run with it at the start of the show, and he immediately throws me under the bus?
Doesn't even ahead of time. My lack
doesn't even wait a second.
Take it from a pro. If you don't want to help, just quietly don't help. Don't announce. All right. Well, we talked a little bit about this on the radio show, and I want to make it at sort of the top of the hour for the podcast, if you will. And that is, let's take Brett Kavanaugh's accusations as given, okay, that they actually happened. Christine Ford, that he actually did when he was 17 years old. And to be clear, this is what she alleges as reported by the Washington Post and the letter that she wrote as reported by CNN. And I think it's important to add that because we don't have her testimony. We don't have either of the letters or anything from her exactly, right? We just through all these filters, which is somewhat frustrating in terms of getting at the real story. But she says she was at a house party, summertime, when she was a teenager, 15 years old or so, Bethesda, Maryland, or thereabouts. Everybody's drinking to some degree. Brett Kavanaugh and his friend Mark Judge are drinking more than everyone else who are drunk. She's upstairs for some reason. Gets pushed into a room. She's not exactly sure who pushes her into the room from behind, whether it's Kavanaugh or Mr. Judge. Again, so this person's name is Mark Judge. Somewhat confusing because of Judge Kavanaugh.
It is all week.
And then Brett Kavanaugh is on top of her, trying to get her clothes off, trying to rape her, she believes. She expresses that she, at the time, was fearful that he might kill her inadvertently because she attempted to scream, and he put her hand over He put his hand over her mouth in order to frustrate her attempts to scream and alert the other people in the house. The Mr. Judge was there roughhousing around, jumping on top of him. At one point, he jumped on them, creating a sort of spillover pile. She was able to escape to a bathroom. The boys ran downstairs, and that was the end of the encounter. Mm-hmm. That happens to, 16, 17-year-old Brett Kavanaugh does that. Does that mean he doesn't get to be Supreme Court Justice in 2018 in your mind?
Well, there is an issue of if he's 17, which he's still a minor, or if he's 21, where he's now no longer a minor, or if he was, say, 30, which is only maybe 20 years ago that he was 30 years old. So I think there is a difference. I think if a pattern of behavior can be established that was started then or included that.
Well, we don't have a pattern.
With no pattern of behavior, a 17-year-old, I think it's very difficult.
All right, that's what I wanted.
I think it's very, very difficult.
So it sounds like the answer is it's not a disqualifying event
and I want to
say
that I would say that even if that was being, that accusation was being made against a progressive justice.
Right.
I mean, I think you have to look at it in the vacuum that it's in, because it is a vacuum. There's no pattern of behavior.
Yeah.
I mean, compare it to, for example, Roy Moore, right, who was running for Senate in Alabama. There was a pattern of inappropriate sexual behavior, shall we say, by Judge Moore. That was a pattern. There's no pattern here, and I think that's the thing that's so troubling, just as there wasn't with Clarence Thomas, there was no pattern of behavior with him.
Let's not muddy the water.
Right, but what I'm saying is, though,
Yeah.
But with, let's say, Donald Trump. Okay, with Donald Trump, there is there are patterns
I
of
phrased my
behavior.
question
Yeah.
to try to narrow the field.
Yeah.
So I say,
Yeah.
given what, if we take the allegations as she's given them, which is not we don't have a pattern. And he's not 30 years old. He was 17 or
Right.
maybe 16.
Mm-hmm.
If it even happened, which is up in the air, I'll grant you that. But so it sounds like you're saying it's not a disqualifying event, right? For you?
Not by itself.
Okay, right. All right,
No.
for me too. So for some people it is.